1979, Iran was in turmoil. The US-backed Shah had been overthrown, replaced by the Ayatollah Khomeini's Islamic Republic. Anti-American sentiment ran high, and on November 4, that anger exploded. Thousands of revolutionaries stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 52 American diplomats hostage. But what many don't know is that 6 American diplomats managed to escape, thanks to an audacious rescue mission, not by the CIA alone, but by Canada. As the embassy fell, 6 diplomats evaded capture and went into hiding. With the streets filled with armed revolutionaries, their options were limited. For days, they moved between temporary hiding spots, relying on friendly foreign contacts. But every hour that passed increased the risk of discovery. If caught, they would likely be executed as spies. Just when all seemed lost, help came from an unexpected source: Canada. Ken Taylor, the Canadian ambassador to Iran, and John Sheederdown, his chief immigration officer, did not hesitate. They knew harboring the Americans was a massive risk. If Iran discovered Canada's involvement, it could have led to severe diplomatic consequences and put Canadian lives, including their own, at risk. Nevertheless, these 2 men, along with their wives and staff, sheltered the Americans in their homes, providing food, Canadian documents, and, most importantly, a plan. While Hollywood's version, Argo, makes it seem like the CIA single-handedly orchestrated the escape, the truth is that Canada did the heavy lifting. Canada carried the operation for weeks before the CIA even got involved. In fact, Ken Taylor was not just hiding the Americans, he was secretly collecting intelligence for the US government, monitoring the situation on the ground. Taylor and his team scouted escape routes and personally visited the airport multiple times to assess security risks. He worked closely with the Canadian government, which took extraordinary measures to protect the escapees. Ottawa quickly issued 6 genuine Canadian passports with fake identities, complete with convincing backstories. It wasn't until late in the process that the CIA's plans came into play. They crafted a cover story about a fake Hollywood movie production to justify the diplomats' departure. The plan was simple: fly out of Tehran using commercial flights, blending in as Canadian citizens. But even with this plan, the real danger was far from over. January 27, 1980, the day of the escape. The 6 disguised Canadians arrived at Mehrabad Airport, their nerves on edge. One nervous glance, one misstep, and they could have been caught. They had memorized their fake identities, their roles in the so-called movie production. They approached passport control and provided their documents to the Iranian guard. The room was tense, seconds stretched into eternity. Finally, with a stamp of approval, he waved them through. The Canadian documents held up. One by one, they passed through security. They walked calmly to their gate, boarded a Swissair flight to Zurich, and as the plane lifted off Iranian soil, they knew they were finally safe. The world soon learned of the dramatic escape. At the time, Canada took full responsibility for the operation, allowing the US to avoid further conflict with Iran. Canada's role in the mission was widely praised, and Ken Taylor was hailed as a hero in Canada, the US, and beyond. But in the years that followed, the CIA gradually downplayed Canada's role, shifting the narrative to highlight its own involvement. Decades later, Hollywood told the story in Argo, directed by Ben Affleck. The film was a hit, winning Best Picture at the Oscars, but it also sparked controversy. Much like the CIA's narrative, the movie largely downplayed Canada's role, making it seem like the CIA was responsible for almost everything. It wasn't until years later, through statements from President Jimmy Carter and others, that the full truth came to light. President Carter stated, 90% of the contributions to the ideas and the consummation of the plan was Canadian. and the movie gives almost full credit to the American CIA. And with that exception, the movie is very good. Ken Taylor himself also criticized Argo for distorting history. Ultimately, the CIA played a part, but it was Canada that took the real risks to make the escape possible.
So I thought it would be a good idea to do something which I had had in the back of my mind all the time, and that was to call my good friend from the Canadian Embassy, John Sheardown.
The phone rang, and I get up to answer it, and found that it was Bob Anders. We were half expecting the call because we knew that Bob was out.
I was delighted to hear that some had made their way out and that we were in a position to be of some help to them.
And I'll never forget the first thing John said to me. Says, "Well, why didn't you call sooner?" Says, "Come on over here, you can stay with us." And so, of course, I immediately felt very relieved about that. Then I said, well, that sounds great, John. By the way, I've got 4 other people with me." And he said right away, he came back and said, "That's all right. Bring them all. We can take care of all of you."
The 1979 Iran escape remains one of the most daring rescues in history. While Hollywood may have rewritten the script, it was Canada. Through its courage, diplomacy, and willingness to take enormous risks that truly saved the day. Ken Taylor's legacy as a real-life hero stands firm. His courage and leadership in the face of danger exemplify the power of diplomacy, integrity, and doing what's right, even when the risks are high. The Canadian caper stands as a testament to Canada's quiet but unwavering commitment to its allies, proving that true heroism is often found in those who act not for recognition, but because it is the right thing to do.
I have heard some Canadians say that it's part of Canada's historical destiny to be forgotten by the United States.
Oh, yeah.
But never again.